These two outer rows here of Royal Velvet and these two outer rows, they're just a year-old plant. So we put those in a year ago, long weekend, May.
Okay.
So when we talked about when we started the field and put our 100 so plants in, they were from the Royal Velvet sign, Sherm.
Yep. Okay.
And we went this way towards our little barn quilt.
Right.
So as you can see, it looks a little different this year. Our plants are not as big here, the super blues, because those were ones we needed to replace because of our winter that we had.
All right. So it looks like almost all the rows are a specific type.
Yes.
Now these two are probably the same, it looks like. And which ones are these?
Yes. So this is Royal Velvet, and these 3 rows are Royal Velvet.
Okay.
We choose, well, it's kind of my favorite, but don't tell the rest because I tell them they're my favorite too. But these ones, when you cut them, it's great for culinary, but when you cut Royal Velvet and dry it, it stays the same. I have Royal Velvet up there that's dried that looks as straight and narrow as last year's. So Rob, there's a good picture. There's a brand new one that hasn't come out and blossomed yet, and this one's kind of past its prime. Both still fine for making oils, but in an ideal world and what our field will look like next year is the plant needs to be about 50-50, right, Sherm? So 50% closed buds to open buds.
Huh.
So they say that's perfect for
If you see the flowers just coming out on them there,
Right.
50% of those flowers are out. That's about the perfect time to harvest.
That means it's time to go.
Yeah.
And to harvest something like this, do you go with like snips? Do you snap it off? Like how do you harvest the plant?
Depends how we're doing it. If we're doing it for fresh bundles, we'll cut them all by scissors, and that way all the heads stay the same.
Yep.
Right.
And rather than sorting them, but if I'm just putting them in the still, I'll just take my cordless hedge trimmers.
This morning, come in and I just trim off just the stems. This bulk of the plant, you want it to stay, so it'll look just like a little hedgehog when you're done.
Right.
But for the still, we'll just use hedge trimmers and cut them off, pick them up, and
it's quick.
throw
It's
in a
nice
barrel.
and quick and easy.
Yeah.
Very nice. So aside
Not quick, not easy.
quicker and
Nice.
If
You
you want to
got the
work
nice
on your
part, right?
tan.
True. It is a great way to get in here.
Plus, yeah.
And now that we're down here too, it's like you're in this like little valley because you got this big hill of farmland behind you with a beautiful backdrop of trees. You got this beautiful giant, it was a weeping willow
Yes.
next to the pond, which we're gonna go see later.
Yeah.
It feels like we're so tucked away,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very picturesque.
The whole farm really lent to the business, didn't it, Sherm?
Sure did.
When
down
we
here.
started laying this out, this field to the north of us is not ours, but 100 acres to the south and to the east here. But I forgot what I was going to say. I remember now. The field, there's a little creek that you can't see that goes around our field here.
Right.
And it's runoff from the field or flooding or off the little tributaries
river
of the
over here, yeah.
Thames. So this is actually dried. Last year we had the creek. It was full all summer last year. But you can hear our fountain over here from our spring-fed pond. It actually drains off into that creek and will carry on out to the Thames. So it is very, very pretty. You can see we had a little bit of damage in our long weekend storm like everybody else had. So just another part of Shermie's to-do list, but we'll get there.
But the fact that you have a natural spring here on the property is like that in itself is worth its weight in gold. I don't know how you weigh a pond
It's
in gold
true,
or
though.
spring,
It
but because
really
you just feed it right in for your essential oils and everything. You use that for your day to day.
So people had asked us about irrigation. We never did set up for irrigation. We didn't think we needed to. Once we watered these plants down here, we let God take care of them.
Right.
Last year was great. We didn't have to do anything. This year's been a different story. So we, lucky enough, have a kind of an endless supply of water, and we fill up buckets and hoses, and we head out in the front field. So all our babies have probably been watered by hand, 6 times now since they were put in May.
Okay.
Something we didn't think we were going to need. It was 7 hours probably to water that front field the other day for sure.
I don't doubt it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Melissa.
Okay. So this is I find the purple one is quite fragrant.
What do you think?
So
about
they're
this
both
one?
a strain
This
of
is a
English.
softer one, but
It
it's
is
like
sweet.
I prefer this one, but it's a little bit more subtle.
This is a very expensive oil. Very expensive.
Yeah.
And these are all things that we're learning now. But isn't
this
that
one?
lovely? lovely?
Yeah, that's really nice. Did you get a load of that one?
Yeah.
Very nice. Did you get a load of that one?
Yeah.
Very nice.
So-
I like that.
Okay, so that's royal velvet.
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah, so it makes a nice oil. This is what's in Mom's cookies?
This one feels like it's a little bit more perfumey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we'll get you a sample of the French lavender, which is a totally different smell again.
Before that, though, Sherm, I
So
have
good.
to show them my.
I could fall asleep right here in the
Melissa
field
Lila,
right now.
The peace
Go ahead.
sign.
Yes.
It's dry.
Here it
You get
is.
wet.
It's
Roll
much
around.
different from last year. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Matches your shirt perfect, Mike.
It actually does. Oh, I should be collecting these fellas.
should be.
Right in here.
Put those in. I don't have any pockets.
So, Rob, this is the peace sign.
That's obvious.
So next year you'll see it. The mounds will be
Get out of
much
Rob's
bigger.
way. Ah, I'm in your way, Rob.
So on the outside will be all our Melissa lilac, and the inside will be the Arctic snow. So it'll be a beautiful white one.
Right.
And these will all join. They'll get nice and big and bountiful. People wonder what we do as farmers now, like during bloom season. So this is what we do. We weed because these guys don't like sharing their spots with anybody. So
Oh, and I do see, so you got to
Yeah.
go through there and
yeah,
yank her all out, eh?
But once we're done, it fills that hole up with the lavender plant, and then nothing else can grow through it,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Oh, sure. I'll fix that later. But you know what? You get
That'd be a nice way to get out.
Is there not
in the
something
drizzle.
satisfying about pulling
Just-
those
yeah.
out?
I'm trying to convince the yoga girls that should be part of their exercise.
Yeah.
Get over by a
gotta
couple
warm up
plants,
before yoga. Get to weeding.
stretch in.
I could use some people at my house too.
So same thing with the chamomile. So all this is the perfect time when they're out like a little daisy like this.
Right.
This is when you want to come and take them off, and that's all you do.
Oh.
Just take the top off. Take the top off.
And this is the part that you.